Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about the L-sit, and we'll go through various progressions in order to get ourselves into a nice clean L-sit on the floor and be able to hold that sufficiently for at least 10 seconds. Okay, so to begin with, we're just going to talk about the positioning of the L-sit. Now it's really important that when you're in an L-sit, you're actually in an L-sit. Okay, so what we want to see before you even start to work on the progressions is, can you get into this position here? Okay, so can you, toes pointed, legs nice and straight, torso nice and upright, can you get into that L position? Okay, can you get into that L shape? Now what might happen here is that you might slouch a little bit, you might have to bend the knees a little bit. Okay, so if that's the case, and if we are really struggling with that, then it's going to be worthwhile putting some time into stretching them hamstrings, okay, and also just spending time in this position. So one stretch that I'm going to quickly show you now using a band is if you just lie on your back and you wrap a band around your foot. You can use a band, a belt, a towel, whatever, and from here, okay, we'll try and keep that leg straight so it simulates the L-sit position. However, if you've got it straight and it's causing quite a lot of pain behind the back of the knee, you can bend a little bit and then you can straighten out into it as you go. But from here, guys, we're trying to keep a little bit of space between our lower back and the floor, so we're keeping that slight natural lumbar extension. And then from there, we're just going to obviously use our hands to pull ourselves further and further into this hip flex position. Okay, and you can hold that for about sort of 30 seconds or 10 breaths. And you can also play around with contractions there as well. So you can pull against the band, or push against the band. You can also try and pull the leg further towards you. And what it's going to do is actually engage the muscles in that position. Okay, and get your brain familiar with that specific angle that the hip's working at. Okay, and then once you've done that both sides, you can do it for multiple sets if you're really tight. You can then come and retest this position. Okay, because if you're not able to get into this position, guys, you're not able to get into that nice, lovely L-shape, L-sit position. Okay, so now that we've discussed positioning, we can start to look into the progressions. So whilst you're working on the position, if you are struggling to get into that position, then you can work simultaneously on the tuck L-sit position, because obviously that doesn't require you to straighten them legs. Okay, so the first progression that I will show you is going to be a hanging tuck L-sit. Okay, in most people's cases, they'll find it a little bit easier to start in the hang than on the floor or on chairs. And then, so we'll start in this position here, and then once we get sufficient in the hang, we're able to hold it with the legs straight in the hang, then we'll progress onto the chairs. So, for the hanging L-sit, move the camera down a little bit. For the hanging L-sit, all you're going to do is have your arms straight. Okay, a little bit of tension in the shoulders if you want to, so you can just draw the shoulder blades down slightly. From here, we're going to try and get the knees. I'm going to move the camera down even more. From here, we're going to try and get the knees into a 90-degree angle to the hips, like so. And from there, we're trying to keep the feet directly beneath the knees. Okay, so it'll almost look like you're sitting on a box. Gaze stays forwards. We just want to try and hold that position. Okay, so you'll see that it's accumulation up to a certain point. So I think it builds up to 60 seconds in some of these positions. But what I'd suggest is be able to hold the position for 10 seconds confidently. Once you can hold the position for 10 seconds confidently, then you're probably going to be ready for the next step. So something like 5 or 6 sets of 10 seconds, only 60-second rest. That's a good measure to say, right, okay, if we can do this, we're then probably ready to move to the next step. So the next step is going to be straighten the legs. So from here, we get into that exact same position. The knees are going to come parallel to the hips. From there, we're going to try and straighten the legs out, point the toes, and keep that nice L position. Again, gaze forwards, toes pointed, legs nice and straight. Okay, so if it feels like a big jump, if you're able to do 5-6 sets of 10 seconds comfortably, I imagine you'll be able to progress to that, even if it's just for a few seconds to start with. But if it does feel like a big jump, you can just go and just gradually increase that extension at the leg. Just ensure the knees stay parallel to the hips, and we don't let the knees drop down. Okay, we keep that nice L shape at the hips. Okay, Okay, so now we're going to look at performing this exercise in the chairs, and this is where the cues become relevant that I discussed at the start. So the first cue we're going to think about is pushing down into the chairs. Okay, so we're trying to really draw them shoulder blades down. Okay, pushing the chairs or pushing your way into the floor. Secondly, common mistake that we see is that the elbows will turn in. What we want to see in the L-sit is we want to try and see the elbow pit or the sort of head of the bicep facing forwards throughout the movement. Okay, so it's very tempting when you do it to let the arms draw in, but do your best you can to externally rotate the shoulder, and that will then cause the pit of that elbow to face forwards. Okay, from there, again keeping to our first positioning idea, we want to be trying to keep a nice L shape throughout the movement. Okay, so the hips should remain underneath the shoulders, and that will help us keep that L-shaped position. The final cue, if you're in an L-sit, obviously legs straight, toes pointed. Even if you're in a tuck L-sit, if you've got the height, also keep them toes pointed and just get into that practice of keeping that nice body tension. So first of all, again, we're going to start in the tuck position. So we apply them cues. Okay, we can take 2 chairs or parallettes or whatever you've got that's stable. From there, pushing the shoulders down, bring the knees into that 90-degree angle. The feet should be underneath the knees. The biceps are forwards. The hips are underneath the shoulders. Gaze forwards. And that's your tuck L-sit. Okay, what you'll find by turning them biceps forwards is you will probably get a bit of cramp in the triceps and maybe sometimes the rear delts. Okay, that's showing that you're in a nice good position. From there, we're now going to go into the straight L-sit. So again, once you can get to sort of 10 seconds comfortably, so you can consistently perform that over about 5 or 6 sets, then we can build into that straight leg position. Once again, just like on the bar, if you find it's very difficult to go from the tuck into the straight position, then you can just gradually open that knee angle, okay? But ensure that you keep that L shape from the knee to the hip, okay? You keep that nice L angle. So from here, same cues apply, pushing the shoulders down, biceps forwards, hips underneath the shoulders, and then we straighten the legs, point the toes. So we'll have a quick look from the side now. And just one further thing to note, guys, is the distance between where your hands are supporting yourself should be around about elbow to first finger. Okay, I'm not 100% where I got information from. I feel like it's from a gymnast, but it may not have been. But it's always worked well for me. So whether I'm doing planche or press to handstands or L-sits, you know, if I'm going on the P-bars, if I manage to get to a gymnastics club, then I'll go for that. And again, I don't know where this source has come from. I really can't remember, but it served me very well. So there we go. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you from the side now. So again, we'll just start in that tuck just to show you the position. Shoulders pushed down, biceps forwards, hips underneath the shoulders, knees in that L angle, feet beneath the knees, toes pointed. And then once we're comfortable there, we can then obviously straighten out, keeping them biceps forwards. So once we've been through the steps, guys, once we've got the correct positioning, once we've able to perform the L-sit in a hang position, again, competently for 10 seconds consistently, then once we're able to perform it on the chairs, okay, again, competently applying the correct cues for 10 seconds, then we can obviously move the L-sit down onto the floor, okay. The same cues apply on the floor as on the chair. So once again, we first of all get into this nice straight position. Okay, we place the hands just outside the hips. I like to go first finger forwards because that's the position I'll be in the handstand. So I'm going to press from here. I'm already set in that position. From here, what we're thinking about doing again is pushing them shoulders down, keeping the biceps forwards, hips underneath the shoulders, legs straight, toes pointed. Okay, and if I show you from the side or from more of a front angle, again, if you're in the right position, guys, you might find you get some cramp, triceps, rear delts, and that's just showing that, again, you're pushing down and and you're also keeping them biceps forwards, so it's loading up that posterior shoulder and arm. Okay, there you have it. So just a final thought or consideration to take with you when working on your L-sit is try and move with that sense of mastery and grace. Make it look as easy as you can, okay? If you go and watch the gymnasts, even on the rings when they're doing the sequences in the Olympics, they make it look easy. They've got a straight face, a lot of them, make it look like they're not even working, okay? So do your best to really move with that sense of mastery and grace, okay? If you do find that your position starts to go, take a breather, and that's just where you're at. So when you're holding this position, it's, L-sit with your best possible form, okay? And if that form diminishes slightly, take a longer rest, or obviously regress if required as well. But really try and keep with you, when working on the L-sits, keep with you that idea that it should look as beautiful as it can. Awesome, guys. Enjoy.